Hi friends, welcome to the FibreBound Podcast. This is episode 10. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a hot minute since I recorded last, so I'm feeling like it's taking me ages to set up and I am super rusty. I have a coffee today that I will be drinking throughout the episode, and I hope that you have a beverage of your choosing, whether it's a cool drink if you're in the Northern Hemisphere or something warm to drink if you're in the south of Australia in particular, which is going through a super big cold snap. You can find me on Instagram as FibreBound, and I am also on Ravelry as Ollie. We have a Ravelry group for this podcast, and I will link all of that down below. Now, in the description below, I will also link the projects that I talk about today, any shops that I mention, and anything else of interest that may come up during my conversation with you. For new viewers, welcome to my little corner of the internet. Thank you so much for checking me out. I do hope that you like what you see. And for returning viewers, welcome back, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me again as I share all the yarny things with you. There is a lot to share today. It has been it has been probably over 2 months. Wow. Since I recorded last. I think it was May that I recorded my last episode. So I have a lot to tell you about. Surprisingly, not as many finished objects as I would expect in 2 months of knitting, but a lot of acquisitions that I probably won't get through today because it would be a very long episode if I did. And just some life stuff at the end to tell you about, and work in progresses, obviously, because I have a few things on my needles and a few things that I am planning to cast on over the next few weeks, days, hours. I think I'm going through a bit of a cast-on-itis phase. So settle in. Make sure you have that drink with you. I think this is going to be a long one. And I will share with you what I've been working on. Now, to backtrack a little, I realised I forgot to say a couple of things at the start. One other thing I need to do today, which is super late, is announce some winners from the last episode. So in the last episode we had a giveaway that was generously donated to us from one of our local makers, and we also ended our whip down cowl. So that ended at the end of May. And so I closed the Ravelry group and I took note of all of the entries on Instagram, and I will draw those winners for you shortly. Just hold on until I finished all the talking about all the knitting, and I will be very excited to share with you who our winners are. Let's start with finished objects. My first finished object for today is a cardigan that I knit for my niece. Now, the knitting on this was finished probably in, I want to say, mid-June. But with other things going on in our life, I didn't have the inspiration to sew on the buttons. So let's show you the finished object. This is the Anchors Jacket by Petite Knit. I knit the, oh goodness, I think it's the 6 to 9 size. If I've got that wrong, I will put the information down below. But I did not do a gauge swatch on this one. So yeah, it ended up being, I think, true to size in the end, maybe a little bit wider than expected, but that's okay. She'll grow into it. I did add a little bit of extra length to the bottom here. I think I added 2 inches of extra length in the body before I started the ribbing. I may have talked about this, but I did rip back the ribbing after I'd bound it off and then realised that it was probably a little bit short. I did full length sleeves and followed the sleeve decreases as written. I don't recall whether I added any extra length to the sleeve. All of the modifications, if there were any, are listed in the project page on Ravelry, so feel free to check that out. Now, I knit this on the recommended needle size. As I mentioned, I did not gauge swatch for this one. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out though, and cannot wait to gift it to my niece. In case this is the first time that you are watching, this was knit for my niece for her birthday, and I didn't get it done in time for her birthday, so she will get a late present when I see her next. So this is it. The rest of my finished objects are all socks. It's been, like I said, around 2 months since I recorded last, and I think I was almost finished one of these pairs of socks when I recorded last from memory. It was towards the end of May. No, I had not started these. Actually, these all got started after the 1st of June. So I would have talked about in previous episodes about my participation in the summer sock camp that is hosted by Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady. I have linked all of the information about this knit along down below, so please feel free to check out Kay's YouTube and her Instagram. She has provided a lot of very detailed information about how this cal is running. It's running from the 1st of June up until the end of August, and the aim is to knit as many socks as possible. If you've never knit socks, she provides comprehensive tutorials for you to be able to follow along and learn how to knit socks in any method that you prefer. So when I say any method, I mean needle types. So you could knit your socks on DPNs, you could also knit your socks on magic loop, or try something completely new. So I have tried a few new things this year, and I will share that shortly. But let's show you my first finished socks. So these were the first ones I have finished, or are the first ones I have finished. These are knit in Desert Vista Dyeworks yarn. If you've been here for a while, you will know that I am participating in the Desert Vista Dyeworks 7th annual monthly sock club. I think I got it right, guys. Which means that my aim is to knit one full pair of socks each month. That starts on the 1st of the month and is completed by the end of that month. So these were my June socks. I ordered the 2021 Summer Sock Camp colorway from Susan, who is the dyer behind Desert Vista Dyeworks, when the pre-orders came out in April. Or earlier, I think it was April. And this is that beautiful colorway. It's a lovely self-striping yarn. I knit all of my socks on a 2.25mm needle, or a US one. And for most of them, I do a 20 round 2x2 cuff, approximately 50 round leg, and then foot to length. Now I think this one's probably around the 60-ish for my foot. I wear a size 6 women's, Australian, so that is, I think, the same as a 37 European size shoe. For this pair, because we were provided with some lovely contrast yarn, I did include that for my cuffs, my heels and my toes. And because it's self-striping and I'm a little bit picky about not disturbing the stripe sequence, I have used an afterthought heel on this pair. My second pair of socks, which is my third finished object, is this lovely pair that I completed while we were on holidays. I will talk about my holidays in the blather section, but essentially lots of car knitting went into these ones, and they are knit in Australian yarn. This is Ash and Eve Designs yarn. It's her, I think it's an 80-20 base. it's 80% merino, 20% nylon, and it's from her Curiouser and Curiouser collection, and I think this colour is called Cheshire Cat. I'll have to look that up. I'll put the information down below to make sure that is correct. So I knit these socks while we drove through the centre of Australia, and I think I used the higher flyers for these socks, and this was the first time that I used higher flyers, and I absolutely loved the technique. So I will be using those for future socks as well. So that was one of the first things that I tried, and really enjoyed the process of knitting these on those needles. I know a lot of people struggle with the very sharp tip on higher flyers, but I didn't really have a problem with that. I actually really quite enjoyed the feel of the tip of those needles. I've not knit with hires before, so that was my first experience. Perhaps the longer needles are different, but I really did enjoy knitting with these. Now, one thing I did notice with these socks, again, the sizing of the needle is the same across all of my projects, so it's 2.25mm US 1, and 20 round cuff, around 50 rounds for the for the leg. And for these ones I did a heel flap and gusset, and the heel flap and gusset that I use is one that is included in most of the Crazy Sock Lady designs, and I think I forgot to mention that I do a 56 stitch sock for myself. So both of these that I've shown so far were a 56 stitch size, which is the small in most patterns for adult socks. I have, I guess, a pretty narrow foot, so these fit me quite lovely. Actually, they all fit me really well, which I'm really happy about, which is probably why I'm so obsessed with knitting the socks, all the socks. Because I do love wearing them and haven't found any issue depending on which heel I've used or anything like that. Oh, speaking of, I actually think I did a different heel on that first pair. I did. I will correct that in editing, but it was, I may as well talk about it now. So this was actually an Earth Tones Girl heel. It's the Shadow Wrap heel that was recently released by the lovely Denise of Earth Tones Girl. She has a channel on YouTube as well, and this is a short row heel that I knit while I was making these. So this was not a true afterthought heel, I'm sorry. That is a different pair of socks that I am working on. It's been a while since these were finished and I completely forgot. So yes, this is a short row heel, the Shadow Wrap heel specifically. Some people really like the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I may revisit that and try that again. I tried it a few years ago, and that particular pair of socks doesn't fit so well, but it was only, I think, my second ever pair, so perhaps I just didn't do a very good job of measuring where to finish the sock, because it was quite a new process for me. But no, these fit brilliantly. I can't say anything else about it really. They're great, but yes, sorry about that confusion. Shadow Wrap heel, whereas this is a heel flap and gusset. So it's a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and then just obviously a foot there and go down to a rounded toe. Again, the toe that I use is loosely based on the toe that is in the Crazy Sock Lady patterns. Yeah, it's just something that I've memorized now. I don't need to refer to a pattern, so that's just what I do for all of my socks. So that is my second finished object. I think I was going to talk about the yarn here. Now this is the first time I think that I've knit socks on an 80-20 base. I did notice that it is a little bit thicker than the 75-25 that I usually knit with, which is what the first pair of socks are knit in. But it was still quite lovely to work with, and they feel very cozy and a little bit more robust, I guess. And one thing I did notice though is as I went down the ball, so I knit this one first, so sort of started there, worked my way down, and then started the toe, and you can see that it just seems to get lighter and lighter compared to the first sock. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, so the second one is definitely a bit lighter than the first, but I really don't mind that at all. They're still a beautiful pair of socks in stunning yarn. And I have another couple of skeins of this base from Susan, another Susan, who is the dyer behind Ash and Eve Designs. And I can't wait to knit those up to see how those colours work together. I think I have around maybe 40 grams, 40 grams left of this yarn. So I may use that for contrast of heels, toes or cuffs, or I might make some shorties because I feel really inspired to knit more shorty socks at the moment, which I haven't done in about a year. So yes, that's FO number 3, sock number 2. And I have one more to share. My final finished object is a pair of socks that you also have not seen, because I started these while we were on our trip, and they were knit as part of Knitty Natty's Sock Week 2021. Knitty Natty, or Natalie from Love in Stitches podcast, hosts an annual knit along, which the aim for that is to knit one sock in a week. My attempt this year was to knit 2, seeing as we were travelling and I had a lot of knitting time. And I almost got there, but then I got a little burnt out on the very last day, and the second sock, which only had a toe left to go, took me about 3 or 4 days to finish. I felt so exhausted returning to work and unpacking and getting the post-holiday blues. I did not make the deadline for the second sock, so I only entered in the one. But I do have a full finished pair for you now to share with you, and here they are. Now these ones I knit in Ren and Ollie yarn. Ren and Ollie is a local to me dyer. Mia lives here in Adelaide, and she, I believe, is quite internationally known. She supplies yarn, her hand-dyed yarn, to stockists all over the world, I believe. So we're very lucky to have Mia local to us here in Adelaide. And this is her colourway Shiver, which I bought specifically for this knit along. The knit along, the Sock Week 2021 knit along, is always run at the same time as Shark Week. So, you know, it's a little bit shark inspired, which is quite fun. And I don't generally gravitate towards blues in my yarn choices. So it's fun to work towards a theme of some sort and step outside your comfort zone a little bit. And I was super excited to find this yarn colour, and the fact that it was called Shiver, and I shortly after learnt that a shiver is a group of sharks, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I was super happy that this is the one that I chose. Now, I had planned to knit these for me, but you may notice that these look a little bit bigger. I knit these for my husband. And basically every time I've been casting on a pair of socks the last few months, I keep getting asked, are those for me? I think he wants more pairs in his life. So these ended up being knit up for my husband. And these were also knit on a 2.25mm US 1 needle. I used the magic loop technique for these ones. So I use a 32-inch cable, and it's a Chalgu needle, and I did a bit of a modification for him this time. The last pair of socks I knit for him, I did a 72 stitch sock. Actually, the last few pairs have all been 72 stitches, and he's mentioned that they might be a little bit loose for him. So I thought I would test out a 68. So I was only 4 stitches less, 68 stitches for him for this pair of socks. and we shall see how he likes them. I was excited to finish them and told him he couldn't have these ones until after I'd shown them on the podcast, as the last ones had been given to him before I'd had a chance to show, and I thought, well, I don't want them to get all tatty before I show them to you. So these are for my husband. Again, 20 round cuff. I think I again did a 50 round leg, although he had requested for it to be longer, but really I wanted some leftover yarn so I could make myself a pair. So I stopped at the 50 rounds. I did a heel flap and gusset, and I just modified the size of that based on the 70. It's obviously not a 72 stitch sock, it's a 68 stitch sock. So I did modify that a little bit compared to my usual counts, or what would normally happen for a 72 stitch sock. And I've put all of that in my Ravelry notes. And then I think it's about a 75 round leg, which is hugely bigger than my little socks. But that's what happens when you're knitting as gifts, I guess. If they have bigger feet, they need bigger socks. So yes, that's FO number 4, third sock finished object. Wow, okay. And that is the most finished objects that I will probably ever have. I generally do not knit that fast. This is 2 months worth of knitting. So yes, final finished object for today. Geez, that was thirsty work. I think it's time for a sip of coffee. Okay, let's move on to my works in progress. Before I do that, I've realised something else I've forgotten to tell you about, and it is what I'm wearing today. I'm very bad at this and remembering to tell you that. I think last episode I completely missed it. So I am wearing my ranunculus today. I knit this, goodness, over a year ago. Yeah, I think I finished it February last year, and this is knit in it is knit in yarn that I bought by a dyer who no longer dyes yarn here in Adelaide. Monica from Ash and Oak Designs dyed this beautiful yarn. Now it is 2 yarns held double. I will zoom it in for you a little bit. So you can see that it's sort of marled together. The main colour is silver on a merino nylon base, a fingering nylon base, merino nylon base, and it's held together with a mohair, kid silk mohair blend. I absolutely love the sort of mauvey finished result that it ended up with, which is exactly what I was after. So I'll stand up and I'll show you a little bit more of it. I did make the long sleeve version, so I modified that a little bit. I think I knit the sleeves straight though, and then just did a rapid decrease at the end and the I-cord cuff or bind off. And I think I added about 2 or 3 inches of length to it, so it sits just at my hip bone. I've been seeing so many amazing ranunculus sweaters on various podcasts recently, and it's making me think I might need to knit another one, because this is probably one of my favourite finished objects that I have. I'll link this down below as well. You can have a look at the amounts of yarn I use, because obviously I did make it a bit longer with longer sleeves. I think I may have changed needle sizes as well, so that will all be listed in my project page, so feel free to check that out if you want some more information about this one. Okay, so let's move on to works in progress. I might start with the one that is the oldest, which I only picked up last night for the first time in months, I want to say. So I have shared this one before. This is living in a project bag that I sewed, a couple of years ago. I love sewing project bags, but I just don't feel like I have the time to dedicate to it because it takes away from knitting time. So I wish I had more time to be able to make more because I do enjoy making them. So in here, is my lightweight hipster shawl by Joji Locatelli. So I am knitting this in yarn that I dyed myself. I've talked about this in the couple of previous episodes. I think I dyed this around this time last year, perhaps. It was probably around this time last year. Yep. So really happy with the way this colorway turned out and wanted it to be something special that I could show off. So I decided to make the lightweight hipster by Joji Locatelli, and here it is so far. So last time I showed it to you, I was at this progress keeper, so I made that much progress on it last night, and I'm really happy with how it's working out and cannot wait to finish it so I can wear it. It is so pretty. I love this color on me. I love this color in general. So I have just reached the second textured section, so I'll be adding another panel like this up here, and then I think there's a bit more garter before it's finished. So it feels like it's flying quite quickly now that I've picked it up after a long hiatus, even though I haven't knit on it very much at all. To be honest, this first section here, I think I finished that in a couple of weeks, on and off around other projects. So I do feel like it's quite a quick knit, very soothing knit. I do recall that these little crossover stitches had me in a little bit of a worry that I would get it wrong, but even if some of them aren't 100% right, they look wonderful, although they look pretty good to me. It's such a beautiful little effect. And I love a one skein shawl. I do think that they are very versatile, and it's lovely to be able to use a treasured skein of yarn on something that, you know, shows that yarn in all of its glory, and it is a statement in itself. So this is my first work in progress. Now I am knitting this on the recommended needle size. I believe it's a US 7 or a 4.5 millimeter needle. I do use my ChowGoo interchangeable set for pretty much all of my knitting except for my sock knitting, and this is on a pretty long cable at the moment. Just to make sure I can sort of stretch it out if I want to. It's not all bunched up on the needles. So that's fun. The progress keeper I have on here is a cute one that I think I might have bought it. I can't recall. It's made by a local to me maker, Julianne from the Lovebird Lane podcast or vlog. I can't remember what she's calling it now. She's here on YouTube as well. I'll link her down below for you, as well as her website. She sent me this at some stage last year, I think, and it's a really pretty little sugared lolly looking progress keeper, which is lovely. So that is the first work in progress. I don't think there's anything else to say about that other than I'm really happy that I've picked it up again. I was actually inspired to work on it after watching a bunch of podcasts yesterday, and in particular my friend Fernanda from the Little Monkeys and Me podcast. She and her friend Ruth, and Ruth is someone else that I follow as well, so I'll link both Ruth and Fernanda down below. They have a couple of beautiful podcasts. There's just beautiful souls, and they're currently hosting an Across the Pond shawl cowl, which I thought I'll participate in that, but you needed to have 25% or less of your shawl completed before the 1st of July, and I think this was a bit more than 25%, so I won't enter this one in, but I'm now looking at other shawl patterns to start as part of their knit along, because I love a knit along. It's so inspiring to be able to join in and knit along with people and support each other. So that's what inspired me to pick this one up yesterday. Now my second work in progress is going to be, shock horror, a pair of socks. Now this one here is in the Knitting Den Shop project bag, sock project bag. I adore this little bag. It is so adorable. And in particular adore Krista's tags. Just check that that's in focus. Yep. So she has this beautiful little tooth tag on her bags, and I've talked about Krista a lot. So in here is my summer picnic, I think they're called, socks. And this is a pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. And I have my summer sock camp, whoops, show it this way around, my summer sock camp progress keeper there. This progress keeper is also by the Crazy Sock Lady for Summer Sock Camp 2021. And this pattern was designed as a VIP camper goodie. So it was released to all people that signed up to be a VIP camper with Kay for the Summer Sock Camp knit along. And she will be releasing this to the public, I think, at the start of August. I think that's right. It's a beautiful textured design. And I've put in a heel flap and gusset and just have the foot left to go. Let's turn this way around. Just need to knit the foot now. As you can see, I'm knitting this on Magic Loop. I am using my Chow Goose 32-inch cable as well, 2.25mm needle as always. And the only modification I've made here is do one less repeat of the textured pattern before starting the heel, and that's because I'm using some leftover yarn for this project. I am using some, again, I've talked about Julianne with the previous one, Julianne from Lovebird Lane. I used this colour and this colour within my Slipstravaganza shawl, and I had 50 grams-ish of each left, so I thought that they would make a lovely pair of socks. I also just love the colour names. This one is Biscotti, which I thought is very fitting for a summer picnic. And this one, I have forgotten what it's called. I keep the tags inside. This one is called Flushed. Biscotti and Flushed by Lovebird Lane. They are on her bamboo sock base. It's oh, there you go. I have used an 80-20 base before, but not for socks, obviously. It's an 80-20 Superwash BFL bamboo blend, 436 yards to 400 meters in 100 grams, and that's Julianne's tag right there. She's got a beautiful logo, and that's the sock details there. Yep, so I haven't worked on these for a week or two now, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. Vanilla socks are just easy to pick up and work on no matter what. A pattern sock I have to concentrate a little bit more, so they don't get as much attention unless I've got the headspace to work on it. I was doing really well though. I think the patterning is an 11 row repeat from memory, and I was trying to do one 11 row repeat a day for a few days, and sort of calculated it took me about 35-40 minutes to do one repeat. So if I did that for one day, then I could put it down and feel like I've accomplished something on this pattern, and I could move on to some other more mindless knitting if I wanted to. So that worked really well for a few days there, and then it's now been probably 3 weeks since I've picked it up. But it is what it is. They'll get done. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. Absolutely stunning. My next work in progress is housed in another Knitting Den Shop bag, and I'm pretty sure I've shown this one recently as well. I love this one too. Absolutely adore Krista's bags. Now Krista will be having a shop update next weekend, I believe, so I'll make sure to link her shop down below for you. Her bags are just so very well made, and she has an amazing eye for picking out fabric combinations and just does a fabulous job of making her bags. Now, okay, in here is my July Desert Vista Dyeworks cast on. So like I said before, I'm doing a monthly Desert Vista Dyeworks knit along, and this is now the 7th month, which is very exciting. I'm over halfway through the year and so far haven't missed a month, which is fantastic. And this is the Desert Vista Dyeworks yarn tag. Now I'm using the Viso base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and I am using this month the wine tasting colorway, which you may have seen if you follow me on Instagram. I have posted about this project. Realistically, I could have finished this yesterday, but I got sidetracked with my shawl and with something else that I cast on that I will show you in just a moment. But I have one sock completely finished, including the afterthought heel. Now this one is an afterthought heel. I did cut this one in for certain. And the second sock is almost at the toe decreases. It's almost there. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, or if you've been here before, you will know I'm a bit of a stickler for matchy socks. I really do get a lot of joy of having them match up. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit obsessive about having them match up, so I get very excited when I see the lines just right there. Now you will notice that I have light bulb progress keepers on the first sock. They mark every 10 rounds so that I know how long to knit the sock, and I also mark approximately where I thought the heel would go, which is what these stitch markers are here for. But I ended up measuring it and it ended up going down a bit lower, which is fine, and they fit really well. But you'll notice that I don't do that on the second sock when they're self-striping. If they were a plain yarn without stripes, I would be marking those every 10 rounds as well. I don't bother with self-striping because the stripes tell me where I need to stop or where I need to do things. As long as I know the first sock is right, the second sock will match. So as long as your gauge doesn't change, which can happen, but I'm feeling like this is pretty consistent. I do have a progress keeper on here. Again, it's upside down because obviously we knit this way. I'll zoom that in for you. Now the progress keeper says team cuff down because that is my absolute favourite way to knit socks. I have tried toe up again once, I think, and it was not my favourite. So, yeah, I should try that again though, really. Sometimes it's about practice. So yes, the second sock is almost at the toe decreases. I maybe have another 5 rows left to go before I start the toe decreases, and then I will just need to cut in that second heel, and my July socks will be finished. Now you will see that I am knitting these on 2 needles. I'm trying a different technique with this pair. So I'm using 2 16-inch circular needles. They are ChowGoo fixed needles in the 2.25 US 1 size for something that I've said 100 times already. Yes, so I have seen Kay use this method and she really enjoys it, so I thought I'd give it a try, and yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't say it's my favourite way to knit socks, but there's an ease to it with the 2 circulars versus if you were to use DPNs, you would need to use at least 3 to 4, which is probably why I don't like using DPNs. But the main reason why I don't like using DPNs is because I drop them, and then I'm always worried that I'll lose one and it'll be too hard to then knit. So what I do find with these though is when I magic loop, as I get to the end and go to transition, I drop a needle and I don't hold on to it because it's attached. And so when I go to the other side, depending on which side I'm on, I will occasionally drop the spare needle that there are no stitches on anymore on the floor, which hasn't been a problem with this pair. It's something that I've definitely become used to as I've knit almost a full pair now. But just something to note that with magic loop, if you let go of a needle, it's always attached to your project, no matter what. You're not going to lose anything, any of the tips. Whereas I guess there's a risk with this method, or even with the higher sharps that I mentioned before, that if you're used to dropping your needle on the transition from front to back, you may drop it on the floor. I know I've done that even with the higher sharps, but with the higher sharps, what I found a bit easier than this is that you realize quickly that on every transition you have to hold on. So you're holding on for every transition, whereas this, every second transition you have to hold on, which isn't quite as fluid for me, I guess. It could just be me. I could just be a little bit different in that way, but just an observation that I have. It is a method that I may use again, especially if I have a lot of socks on my needles. I certainly may use this method again. I have the needles now, so there's nothing really stopping me wanting to knit these at all. As you can see, I've knit quite a lot, and honestly I knit them really fast too, so I got through these really quickly. But then I started the sock week socks, which took up a week and a half, and these didn't get any attention over that period. And yeah, I will finish them in the next week because they need to be done by the end of the month. And now these are for me again, so they're a 56 stitch sock. And yeah, I think that's all I need to say about them. Did I tell you they're in the wine tasting colourway? I'm telling you again if I did. So that is another work in progress, and there is only one left that is an active one. My final work in progress is actually in a brand new bag that I picked up at Fibre Feast, which I will talk about in the bladder section a little bit more, but it's in this beautiful bag by Totes A Go Go. Totes A Go Go is an Australian bag maker, and their bags are just so pretty and such great fabrics. And I think there's a little stamp with their logo on the inside. There you go. I don't know if that's visible, but I'm pretty sure they're on Etsy. I didn't buy these through their Etsy store, but I got them through our local yarn store, my local yarn store's stall at the Fibre Feast Festival back in May. I think it was May. I think Fibre Feast was in May. That feels like a long time ago now, but yeah, it's been busy. Maybe it was June. Maybe it was, no, it was mid-June. It was the June long weekend. Yep, so time flies when you're having fun and you forget things apparently. So in here I have a brand new project that I cast on Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. And I'm just using some leftover yarn from my niece's cardigan. I had, I think, around 80 grams of this ball left, and I thought, I don't know, I was inspired to make a hat. And then I didn't know what hat to make, so I went searching Ravelry and found a lovely pattern by Knox Mountain Designs, I think they're called. And this is the Rocky Ridge hat that I am knitting. Now this is a free pattern on Ravelry, so I won't be giving anything away. It's a 3x1 rib at the is it a cuff on a hat? I'm so used to talking socks. And then it's got this lovely broken rib almost, I guess, texture on the main part of the hat. And I think I've just lost some stitches. no, we're fine. And I'm more than halfway done after a couple of days. It's a really addictive knit and it's just flying off my needles. I'm using a progress keeper here by the Crazy Sock Lady, and it says it's Scrappy Sunday, which it actually is, and given that this is scrap yarn, I think this suits the Scrappy Sunday vibe. But I haven't knit on this today at all yet. It is about 3 o'clock on Sunday, so I may get a chance to knit on it once we're done here. Now I am using the recommended needles. The cast on was, I think, on a 3.5mm needle, and the body is on a 4mm needle even, which is a US 6. 4mm is a US 6. I think a 3.5 is a US 4. I think. Yes, so I'm using my Chalgu Mini interchangeable set for these on a 16-inch cord. Yeah, 16. It all in total, it's a 16-inch needle once you put the tips on and the cord. I can't remember the name of it, but anyhow, yeah, beautiful, simple knit. If you're looking for just a really easy textured hat that comes in sizes, I think it comes from baby to adult large. I'm making the adult medium here, and I'm not actually sure who this will be for at this point in time. I haven't checked my gauge again, so I thought better safe than sorry, make the adult medium. Whoever it fits, they will get it. So yes, I just felt like knitting a hat. I haven't knit a hat in a while. Yeah, I want to say about a year. And it's pretty pink yarn. It's just really pretty. And I wanted to make a hat. So I cast on a hat. Why not? Yeah, I think that's all I need to say about this one. Free pattern on Ravelry, project notes down below. No modifications at this point, following the pattern exactly as it's written. So yes, fun knit and super quick. Like I could have done this in probably one day if I'd sat down with it, but I sort of got to this progress keeper yesterday and decided I wanted to work on my shawl instead. So squirrel. Total squirrel moment. I get distracted by other projects, which is not a bad thing. Ah dear. Okay, so that is the final work in progress that has had any action on it since I recorded last, which isn't terrible. I have, what, 4 finished objects and 4 works in progress that are active. There are possibly others that I haven't picked up in a while, but we won't talk about those today. That's fine. Okay, so why don't we move into announcing the winners of our Cal and last episode's winner as well. So before I started recording, I did draw the winners, and I have them written down here. So anyone who participated in the Whip Down Cal 2021, that ended at the end of May. So I closed the Ravelry group sometime on the 1st of June, and I took note of all of the entries within Instagram shortly thereafter as well that had been submitted before the 1st of June as well. So on Instagram we had 77 entries, which is amazing, and 76 entries, individual entries. There were a bunch of other posts by me that I have not included because I am not eligible to win my own prize. And on Ravelry we had 31 individual comments. So on Instagram, I will pop your handles down below, but the Instagram winner is Nan's Olive Tirana, and that is lovely Sam. So Sam, I will just ask you to email me your shipping details. I will pop my email address down below, and congratulations, that's very exciting. I've been talking to Sam on Instagram for a couple of years now at least, so it's very exciting to have seen her name pop up. I did want to make an honourable mention to someone who had the most posts on Instagram with that tag though, and I will be sending you something special as well, because I think that's a great dedication to put so many posts up for one hashtag and for one competition. So that is Crystal from Books, Hooks and Yarn. Crystal, you blew me away with how many entries you submitted, and I wanted to send you something small to thank you for your participation and your support as well. So if you wanted to pop your details in an email, and I'll be very excited to send you something in the mail. And our Ravelry winner is, oh goodness, it's Tide Frog 1. Now I had a look at your profile on Ravelry, and I think it's Serena. I think I've said that right. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. Also, can you please email me your postage details? I understand you're in Florida, which is very exciting. It's always fun to send something overseas and to share our Australian amazing makers products with people in America or anywhere around the world. I think one of my first giveaways, it was the winner was in Kuwait, and it was just so amazing to be able to send her this package. And then when she emailed me to say she'd received it, she was just so happy to receive that. So I love being able to share these giveaways with my viewers, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to watch, to comment, to subscribe, to participate in the cows that well, that was my first one, but the cows that I come up with. And I am thinking of a new one to start, but I haven't quite finalized those details yet. So keep posted. I'll keep you posted. Keep watching, and I'll announce that as soon as all the details come together. But congratulations to the winners. I am so very, very happy to be sending you your prizes. Now, we also had a giveaway for the episode. A lovely Australian maker had donated, I can't words today, donated a skein of yarn and a project bag to give away. So the winner for that giveaway was Knit Princess 83. So if you could also email me your shipping details, and I'll get that in the post to you as soon as I possibly can. And I just can't wait to get these prizes out to you all. It's so exciting to be able to share with you. That is all the giveaway winners. Now, I did also want to talk about something that I'm participating in loosely for the first time. You may have heard of it, you may not. The Knit Girls on YouTube host a Stash Down Cal every year, I think, for the last few years. And this is the first year I thought I'd participate, and I've set myself a goal of 3,000 meters of finished objects from the 28th of May to the 31st of August. So that is the period of time that they are accepting entries or meterage for finished objects. And at the moment, and this is projects finished from the start of June up until the Sock Week socks, which are the last ones that I finished, I so far have knit up 1,701 meters, which isn't a whole lot, but I'm really happy with that. I'm definitely on track to reach the 3,000 mark, seeing as we're just over halfway through July. I have just over a month left. I have a shawl on the needles, I have socks, 2 pairs of socks, a hat, and I have plans for other cast-ons. So I will link the information about that down below as well, so please check that out if you're interested. But I'm very excited to be participating in that for the first time ever. Okay, I might share some of my acquisitions with you now, which there are a lot of, so I probably won't go through all of them. Or maybe I will. Maybe I'll just give you a quick run through. Otherwise things accumulate, which apparently they have already quite a lot. Let's start off with something that I bought with a very specific project in mind. If you've been watching The Crazy Sock Lady, as I am obsessed with. She does regular knit along with Amanda from Mandy's Makings with her share a pair socks, and she started a whole thing where a lot of people are doing share a pair socks, where they have 250-gram balls that they're sharing with a partner and they're knitting socks together. And I just think that's an awesome idea. It's so lovely to be able to share in knitting with friends and loved ones. So I was really excited when something popped up on my Instagram by a local Australian dyer who is offering a similar item. She's not calling it share a pair, she's calling it the hand-dyed petite pair, and this is Fibre Lily. Kylie from Fibre Lily is dyeing up these gorgeous skeins and putting them as a set of two 50-gram skeins that complement each other. So I bought 2 sets, and I gave one to my mum and I kept one for myself, and that was an early birthday present to her before we headed out for our trip. And I think she may have cast on her socks already. I haven't, so I need to get a wriggle on. But I thought I'd show you the yarn before I skein it up, cake it up. I can words. Okay, so here it is. Now this it's not a share a pair, it's a petite pair, is called Polly and Tang, and they're 250-gram skeins of super soft sock, approximately 390 meters. Now I can't recall if the super soft sock is a 75-25. I think it might be, just looking at this. I'd have to check the website again, but I just thought these were absolutely gorgeous, so I gave my mum a set back at the end of June, and I kept a pair or a set for myself as well. So I'm hoping to cast these on very soon, and we'll share that with you as it progresses. So that is one acquisition. The next 3 acquisitions are actually prizes or gifts that I wanted to share with you, just because I know that I've been watching podcasts for 2-3 years now, yeah, at least, and I enter a lot of giveaways, and sometimes it's quite disheartening when you feel like you just never win. There's also a bunch of Instagram giveaways, and I've never won any of those either. And then there was, I think, a time in June-ish, May, June, where I won something on YouTube, and I also won something on Instagram, and I really wanted to share those things with you when they arrived. So the first thing that I won was a giveaway on Twin Stitches Designs or Julianne Knitter's YouTube channel, and she was giving away this beautiful Polka Dot Creek yarn. The sock set is from February 2020. It is called Love Actually, with minis in strawberry and sangria. They are 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 100 grams, 463 yards. And the 2 mini skeins are both 20 grams each. And I adore this. It is so beautiful, and so my colours. So thank you so much, Julie. I'm so excited that these have finally arrived. If you're watching, if you're not watching, well, thank you regardless. I watched Julianne's, it is Julianne, yeah. Lots of Julianne's again. Susan's and Julianne's, very popular crafting names. So yes, I watch the Twin Stitches podcast very regularly, and it was very exciting to receive these in the mail. Very, very happy and excited to work these up at some point. So I think they will become socks. Although this pink is just so stunning that maybe a shawl. I don't know. Socks, shawl. We shall see, but it's stunning. Now the second thing I won was from an Australian maker, and this is from Rainbow Sprinkles, who is based in Perth. And I think I need to maybe take it out of the box because the box got a bit squished in the mail. But this is the beautiful yarn, the little box that it came in. Sorry about the noise. Okay. How pretty is this? Now this is a self-striping yarn. I believe this colorway is one that is inspired by Rainbow Bright, perhaps, or Strawberry Shortcake. One of those beautiful childhood cartoons that just invokes a lot of beautiful memories, but I can't remember which at this moment, so I will put the information down below and we'll link to her website. But I was so excited to receive this, and with this giveaway she also gave away some needle minders, which I was so excited to receive. They're so cute. I think she makes these. So there's a lovely turtle rainbow minder. I might have to zoom that in a little bit. These are too adorable, and I just dropped one. They're little turtles and they're so cute. Then we have little flowers and they are so pretty. And the final one that is just, oh, scrumptious. Little unicorns. So that was really exciting. I'll link the website down below for rainbows and sprinkles. But yes, I was really super excited to receive that in the mail. I feel like I've never really won anything, so this was a little bit exciting. So when there's a competition, you've got to be in it to win it, and eventually your time will come. Mine apparently did twice in 1 month, which was phenomenal. But they were very, very generous gifts and prizes, so I'm very grateful to those makers. Thank you so much. Now another little gift that I actually received from a friend, might mention Fibre Feast. So in June, yes it was mid-June, Adelaide had a yarn festival called Fibre Feast. Now it was the first time since 2019 that it was run face-to-face, with a lot of COVID restrictions in place to make sure people kept safe. They had a limit on how many people could be inside the location at a time. But that weekend, one of my other friends, Maddie from Mad About You podcast, came to visit us from Brisbane. Well, not Brisbane, she's in Queensland, she's on the Sunshine Coast, and I organised, well, it was a whirlwind weekend. We also had Worldwide Knit in Public Day on that Saturday. So Maddie and I met up for dinner on the Thursday night, then we had Worldwide Knit in Public Day on Saturday, then Sunday was Fibre Feast. So this whole weekend, just talking about it gives back so many wonderful memories. It was just really phenomenal. And apart from meeting Maddie that weekend, who came over to come and experience the Fibre Festival, I also had a chance to meet Marina from Handmade Koala on Instagram. And Marina is a beautiful Adelaide maker, and she's also a designer. And we've been talking on Instagram for, gosh, I want to say a couple of years as well. And she came along to the Worldwide Knit in Public meetup. We had it at a local coffee shop, and she came with some beautiful yarn that is Russian, that she gifted to me. So Marina knows I'm obsessed with knitting socks at the moment, so she gave me this beautiful skein. Now it is written in Russian at the back, but it's a 75% merino and I assume a 25% nylon. I would think it says 100 grams equals 425 meters. If anyone does read Russian, there it is. But it's yarn by Stu. So if I can find this if I can find this store, I will link it below for you as well. Absolutely blown away when Marina gave me this. So very grateful for that gift. It is so wonderful to have yarn friends who understand your obsession. And this colorway is just stunning. I cannot wait to see how it knits up. Such beautiful tones in here. So watch this space, that will be getting knit up soon. Now onto Fibre Feast, which I have already mentioned. I have a bag full from that festival of yarn and notions. And it feels a little self-indulgent to go through it all right now. But I might show you a couple of the things on top that I really want to show you all of it. Maybe I'll just do half today and half next time. Let's start off with Mo and Me. Peter from Mo and Me is a local bag maker and notions maker as well, and she has an Etsy store that I'll link down below. I bought this beautiful project bag from her. I'll try to make this quick. This gorgeous project bag. There's a beautiful progress keeper that's included there as well. And inside are some notions that I bought from her store as well. So when Maddie came down from Queensland, she had this gorgeous little notions pouch, and she was really excited to see the Mo and Me stall when we went to Fibre Feast. And then when I saw how easy this notions pouch was to fit in her project bag and to keep all her notions very accessible, I needed one in my life. So I bought this notions pouch, which is absolutely adorable. And that's Peter's tag. So I think that's blown out a little bit. But yes, so this notions pouch, I haven't used it yet because I wanted to show it to you all first. Now I will actually start using it. But it's really cute because it sits on your bench space or your workspace or your chair or your table and holds all your things in there, which is brilliant. And it's pink inside and mustard on the outside. And it was so hard to choose which one to buy because they were all so beautiful, and I might actually need more than one in my life. We shall see. So to put in there, I bought these gorgeous scissors from Peter. So they are really cute. And then because Peter has the best stitch markers in Adelaide, I would say, and progress keepers, I bought this lovely set of Star Wars progress keepers. Sorry about the crinkles, because my kids are obsessed with Star Wars, and when I'm knitting for them I like to use a progress keeper that makes me think of them. Then I also got duckies, because who can resist a rubber ducky? Absolutely adorable. And unicorns and a cloud, because when I knit for my niece, you know, that needs to match my knitting too. I just thought these were just darling, had to get them. So those were some new notions that I picked up, which make me very happy. Then, oh gosh, I'm running out of room. Then I went to one of my other favourite, actually all of these guys are my favourites, so it's really, they're all my favourites. Another Adelaide dyer, an Adelaide dyer who I absolutely adore. So Finch Yarns, and I bought these two singles skeins. This one's called On Point and this one's called Just Add Frills. These are both 100% superwash merino, 400 meters per 100 grams, and they're on a singles base. And while I was at the stall, someone recommended that these two would look really good with the third colour, which had sold out from their stall. But I went to another Adelaide dyer and found a very similar colour there. So this is Cola Girl, Nicole from Cola Girl Collective, and this is also a singles base, 100% superwash, 400 meters to 100 grams, and this is called Scarlet Letter. It is so pretty. So now I'm trying to decide which 3-colour shawl I will make with these 3. Because I was super inspired by the softness of a shawl that Maddie was making in singles, or Maddie had made in singles, and so I bought all the singles yarn. While I was at Nicole's booth, so Cola Girl Collective, I also picked up this self-striping skein of sock yarn. But this one here is the Drover sock base, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, again 400 meters to 100 grams. And this one is called Dominic. So I bought it because my son is Dominic, and I know that Nicole also dyes a colorway called Nicholas, which is the name of my oldest son. And I plan to get that next time I see it in stock. Adorable. So some sock yarn. I guess I'm just going to keep going, hey. So next I went and saw the lovely Tanya of my local yarn store, Yarn Trader, and was completely overwhelmed by all the beautiful things she had there. But I picked up a few amazing things. So I got a little bit more, another couple of skeins of singles base, because apparently super obsessed with singles right now and shawls that are squishy. So I picked this up. Sorry if that's blowing out a little bit, but this is the Silken Single Base, 4-ply fingering, 70% superwash merino, 30% silk, 400 meters or 435 yards per 100 grams. And this is part of Tanya's Bridgerton colorways, and this one's called Duchess. And I love it, and I need to desperately find a pattern which has 2 of these, well, two skeins, single colour shawl that I can put these into, because I adore it. I think I have a colour, like it's a mauvey pink. I think that's just me. Stunning. While I was in Tanya's store, I noticed she also was stocking some Louis and Lola yarn. So I picked up one of these beautiful cobblestone and mohair duos in the colourway First Light. So the cobblestone is 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 400 meters in 100 grams. And then the mohair silk, which is sort of skeined into it, is 72% kid mohair, 28% mulberry silk, 420 meters in 50 grams. And I think I already said it's the colourway First Light. Just a beautiful neutral that I have no idea what I'm going to make with, but I had to have it. This is my first Louis and Lola yarn, and I love it. It is so beautiful. I need to get my hands on more of their yarn. The colours are just breathtaking, just amazing dyeing style. And aside from this project bag that I've already shown you that I bought at their store, I also picked up another one which I could not resist. Also made by Totes A Go-Go, but there's no project in it at the moment. It is this one here. Can you see that all right? It says, "I knit so I don't kill people." I just love the colours, I love the font, I love this fabric. I just thought it was really pretty. So I got another project bag, because you can never have too many project bags, apparently. Next up, it looks like I'm going through the whole bag. I can almost see the bottom. Next up is my first ever sock blank by Shan's Yarns. I hope I've said that correctly. So I think that is the right way up. Yep, it's a superwash sock yarn, 100 grams, approximately 400 meters, 75% wool, 25% nylon. I don't know if this has a colorway. I don't think it does, but it's a beautiful sort of pastel-y dyed, a beautiful sock blank. It's my first one ever. I thought that would be fun to try. They're the first ones that I've seen here in Adelaide, so I had to get my hands on one. And while I was at Shan's Yarns, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, I will link her store down below as well. I picked up this gorgeous project bag because, like I said, you can never have too many, and sloths. It's one of those cool knot bags. You can put it on your wrist and knit from it. I think that's how they work, and that is really gorgeous as well. And I mentioned that I picked up the Shiver colorway for my knit along, or for the Sock Week knit along, but when I was at the festival I had actually picked up this one by Ren and Ollie initially. So this is the Valley Sock 4 base. It's an 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon in the colorway Rock Pool. But when I got it home I thought, I want to use this for something different than socks. The cashmere content in it makes me think this will make an amazing shawl. And yeah, I just fell in love with this colorway. Really, really happy with this one. Again by Ren and Ollie. That's Mia, who is a local to me dyer. I think there's one thing left in my bag. Let's bring the bag up here now. Hopefully it doesn't knock the microphone. So the final thing I picked up were these 2 skeins of scrumptious lace by FibreBound. So this was from Pearl and Friends, and I decided to buy 2 lace weight skeins. So now these are going to go and become, they're not going to go anywhere, they will eventually become like a cloud cardigan. I already have some mohair lace to hold with it, but just wanted like a grey of some sort to make that cardigan with. I just really wanted a neutral, and was really happy when I saw this at the festival and had to have it. Yeah, so that is actually my last acquisition, my last purchase from FibreFeast, which, you know, there's a bit of yarn there, but most of those items have a clear plan. Well, that's not true. I would love it if you could share some 3 skein shawl options for me. I will search some Ravelry as well when I'm ready to cast on, but if there's one that you absolutely love that you'd like to share with me, I'd love to hear about it. Or even a 2 skein shawl. I'm thinking something lacy might be nice in that Bridgerton colorway. I'm not sure, but I'm very, very excited to wear those, like so inspired to knit with them because they will be so beautiful knit up. Very, very, very excited. So that was FibreFeast. I will insert some footage of FibreFeast. I may already have done that while I was talking about it. I didn't take a lot on the day because I was so busy looking at the beautiful things and buying the beautiful things that I didn't think to take my camera out too much. But it was really, really lovely day, really interesting to see so many local people perusing and buying beautiful yarn. Adelaide's a pretty small place, but we definitely know how to get a crowd together when it comes to pretty things. So yeah, that was a lovely weekend. I guess I'll move into blather now, or the chatty side of the podcast. I wanted to thank Maddie for coming over and spending some of her precious time with me. It was so good to be able to meet her and to spend time with her, to knit with her while she was visiting Adelaide, and I feel so very blessed to have been able to be able to meet her online and then get to meet her face to face. Thank you so much, Maddie, for coming over, for sharing in the amazingness of that weekend with us. It was a pleasure to have you. Please come back. Aside from that, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I've been traveling a little bit the last 3 weeks. So we've been back for a week now. But yes, my family and I went up to the north of Australia for the most amazing 3 weeks. It was just phenomenal. There was a lot of car knitting time on the travel up and back. While we were at the actual locations, I've got to say there wasn't a lot of knitting time. There was a lot of sightseeing and exploring. And it was just the most amazing trip with my family and my friend's family. I might insert some footage about that one as well, because that was just a phenomenal experience. I got to knit in a waterfall, and with the most beautiful sunset looking over this vista. It was absolutely one of my favourite holidays that we have had. If you're in Australia at the moment, because we can't go overseas, and you're looking for somewhere to go once the states are out of lockdown, once things settle down again, I highly recommend checking out Kakadu, Darwin, that whole area, sort of the mid-north to north of the Northern Territory. We were blown away by what we saw, by what we were able to do. There's hot springs, there's crocodiles. Don't swim where the crocodiles are. It's very well signposted where it is safe to swim. But it was just an amazing, amazing trip. And the sunshine in the middle of July was so welcome. I really did feel like I was living the summer sock camp life. And then I've come back to the rain and the dreary weather of Adelaide. And we've had the last few coldest days of the year, I think. It's been rather windy and rainy and miserable around here, which has been a little bit disappointing, hence the post-holiday blues that I feel like I experienced once we had unpacked last weekend, and completely demotivated me from knitting, which was the first time ever probably that I felt a little lost in my knitting and would do a row and put it down, and spent a lot of time looking at reels on Instagram. A lot of time looking at reels. So it's nice this weekend to have felt a little bit more motivation to pick up my knitting, to start a new project, and even to finish off that cardigan. I only sewed those buttons on Friday night, so that's felt really nice to be able to return to the hobby that I love and get back into the routine. Having said that though, our city at the moment is in a COVID lockdown. We have been in lockdown since Tuesday night. It is now Sunday, and we are expecting this lockdown to end, well, Tuesday night coming, as long as the case numbers remain very low and everyone's been really good, and anyone who is a contact or a close contact of someone who's tested positive have been quarantining, and it's looking really good that we've been able to potentially get on top of this current outbreak. But that has been something extraordinary to come back to after our amazing 3-week trip. Back to the realities, I guess, of life and being more aware of where you go and what you do, and keeping socially distant or physically distant from others, which I think maybe in Australia in particular, we may have become a little bit complacent with, because it has been the numbers have been quite low for a little while in certain parts of Australia, in particular here in Adelaide. So yes, that's been a bit of a reality check. But, you know, in not being able to go anywhere, well, you get other things done. So I've had some fun making some progress keepers and stitch markers that I might share some photos of, or a little clip of me making. I had a bit of fun with that. I'll include some of those with the giveaways that I'm doing, and yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Now, I'm sure there was a lot of other stuff I needed to talk to you about, and I'm sure this is already long enough. So I'll probably finish it there, and I will thank you for joining me for this extra long chatty podcast. I am so very grateful that you have chosen to spend your time with me, and I look forward to speaking to you again. I wish you a very knitty day, a very knitty night if it is evening, a very knitty time. Hopefully you get a chance to stop and take some time to yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy knitting. Bye.